What's your secret that could literally ruin your life? Well, it's more of a secret to my friends that I've made recently. Some background first, I don't like being touched or hugged, and I'm incredibly uncomfortable with intimacy in general. When I was in the 8th grade, a bunch of girls in my class convinced me they had a friend who fancied me. They said she had seen me somewhere and thought I was cute. Faked her MSN account and they talked to me every night for a few months, invited me out to the movies, and, obviously, didn't show up, then revealed to the whole grade that I had been tricked into having an imaginary girlfriend. I was mocked viciously by everyone in the grade, and ever since then I can't really trust women. I also can't believe that a girl may have feelings for me. Even when they explicitly tell me they have feelings for me, I can't help but feel like they are trying to trick me. It's caused a lot of insecurity, and I can't get attached to people easily. I'm terribly afraid to text or message people first because I'm convinced I would be annoying them. What's worse is that when I think about it, I know it probably isn't true, but I can't help but feel like it is. Even though it was grade 8, it was around the time when attraction to women was just starting to get real, so to be hurt at a time as delicate as that has really done some damage. The secret, of course, is that I had been dumb enough to be tricked. As you might suspect, the whole thing has left me afraid of being vulnerable. To have this found out by my newer friends, as in university friends, would put me in a really uncomfortable place. I probably wouldn't be able to be their friend anymore. Thanks for reading. You're the first people I've told about what this event has actually done to me. Cousin died when we were both 17. There was a reception at his house just after the funeral. I went into his room and stole all the money that was there, took some other valuables that his parents wouldn't realize were gone. No one knows that I did it. They just assumed he didn't have any money in his room, only loose change. I don't regret it, but I will never admit I did it. Also my cum box. I run a cake business. I charge people hundreds for wedding cakes. Every last one is made using Pillsbury cake mix I buy for $1 a box at Walmart. I suck at baking. Every time I've ever tried to make a cake from scratch it sucked, but baking is like my whole deal. My friends all call me the cake girl. It's like my whole life is a lie. People compliment my cakes all the time, telling me how delicious they are, telling me it's so much better than box mix cake, telling me they could never bake a cake so delicious. Well, guess what? For $1, they too can make a cake just as delicious. Just add oil, eggs, and water. In my defense, I love cake decorating. I make all of the frostings and fondant from scratch. I just hate baking freaking cakes. I base my prices mostly on the decoration of the cakes, and not of the cake itself, if that makes sense. Still, no one knows about this except my husband. Even my best friends think I freaking slave over the oven mixing and baking these damn cakes. I have been doing this for years. If anyone knew, my business and reputation would be in the toilet for sure. I keep telling myself I have to learn how to make the damn cakes without the box mixes, but I never do it. I feel like such a sham sometimes. This is my old account, so might as well throw it away. While on deployment, I killed a man in a coup de grace. The feelings of taking a man's life always weigh a heavy burden on me every day. No one likes hurting people. He had been hit by some of our mobile artillery. While part of me wanted the bastard to be in pain, it wasn't right. My medic was busy with my wounded, and as the officer on duty I took out my .45 and put one in his head. I knew my boys wouldn't say anything. Most just watched, accepted it as a fact of war, and kept walking. I remember throwing up afterwards. I came home and everyone acted like I was a hero. I never felt like more of a sham my entire life. First time telling anyone this. This thread is so deep that probably no one will see, but if one person does see it, it'll feel better. I'm basically living a lie. I told my entire family I was able to transfer out of community college and into a university, but I never finished up the requirements. So since I live at home, every day instead of going to school I go to the local library and BS. My lies are so extensive, I even go to the campus and meet my girlfriend for lunch sometimes. I've made fake transcripts to show my family, and to make it look like I'm actually studying I go to MIT Open Coursera to look up facts that I learned in class that day. I have become a remarkable liar. I hope to be transferring in the fall, and then I look forward to living a normal life. Coming clean is not an option at this point. Okay, so this is a secret I've kept for nearly 20 years. During the summers, when I was growing up, my parents would often leave my brother and I'm male, with our aunt and uncle who lived out in the country. It was great as they had 4 sons of ages close to ours, so we had a lot of fun doing kids stuff. One summer when I was 8, the oldest cousin was maybe 16. We somehow got talking, and he asked me if I wanted to sleep in his room that night. He has the nicest room and bed, so I was all for it. Got into bed and he asked if he could touch my penis. I was 8 and just thought it was okay, so I let him. He rubs it for a bit, and then asks me to do the same to him. So I do. This progresses and eventually I'm sucking his cock. I think I knew this was wrong, so I said I didn't want to carry on. We stop and I go to sleep quite confused. I wake up, and he hands me some money, and tells me never to tell anyone about what happened. Next night he tries to do the same thing, but now all I care about is the money. So I do it. This carried on for 2 summers. Eventually I got old enough to realize it was quite wrong regardless of the money and stopped. I've not told anyone this. He's now married with 2 kids. I'm also married, and we see them sometimes at family events. I don't have the balls to even try and talk to him about it. Hell, I'm not even sure what I'd say. I'm sure this will get buried, but just getting it off my chest makes me feel better. Buried comment, but here goes. Not life ruining, but makes me feel like shit every time I think about it. As I've told Reddit before, I have a blind brother. When we were young, I used to get so frustrated at all the extra attention he received and how I had to be more responsible with my sibling than my peers. So, when my brother and I would go play, go to the store, or just generally go anywhere without adults, I would abandon him somewhere unfamiliar to him. Then, I would stand off quietly and watch the anxiety set in as he tried to figure out where he was and what was going on. Also, I was really intelligent as a child and knew that was my ticket to attention. When I would help my brother with his homework, I would teach him all the wrong answers so that I could continue being the smarter sibling. Today, my brother is my best friend. He goes to college and lives by himself. He's become one of the most intelligent men I've ever met. I'm trying to make it up to him now by being the best big sister ever, but I still feel so guilty at how I found him to be a burden when I was a kid. I faked having a chronic pain condition for 5.5 years. In order to not have to attend middle school and high school, I was placed on a homebound program, not homeschooling, and allowed to study at my own pace from home. I was able to fool a team of medical professionals, my family, my teachers, and my friends into believing that my symptoms were real. Also, I racked up over $100,000 in medical bills for my family. That's just what the insurance didn't cover. During those 5.5 years, I did not realize the extent of the medical bills until late into my life, and it was one of the main reasons I decided enough was enough. Upon graduating from high school and getting accepted into a good university, I decided that it was time for my pain to go away. No one has questioned the fact that my symptoms vanished overnight. My medical team attributed it to the fact that I was nearing the end of puberty. What I did was a douchebag thing, and my family is continuing to drown in debt from medical bills. I plan to pay them back someday. I simply started the hoax because I was a 12-year-old who absolutely loathed middle school. I attempted to end a lie at the beginning of every school year, but eventually fell back into saying my pain prevented me from attending school. Today I feel horrible about what I did, and I desperately want to tell everyone that it was a lie, but I know that I cannot, because I will never gain credibility back again. When I was around 10 or 11 years old, one of the maid's daughters, who was probably 13 or 14 at the time, had a pretty weird relationship with me. We both mutually liked each other, but the relationship just couldn't happen because my mother strictly forbid me to associate myself with any of the attendants or their family. We did some mild petting, I guess. She touched my penis and I played with her vagina. I don't recall any sort of intercourse. Don't even think I was even old enough for that. We had a bunch of dogs in the back area, mainly German Shepherd mutts. I personally love dogs and all sorts of animals, so I frequently spent my time in the back lot with the dogs. I watched the dogs mount each other and was interested in what they were doing. I even once saw one of the dogs lick its own penis, and it would grow, and I guess the dog comes out after a certain amount of licking. Yeah, it was kinda gross, but I was interested. I went over to feed the dog, and that she was in the back lot helping her mom hang some clothes. I told her about my pretty fucked up idea. I wanted her to get mounted by one of the bigger dogs and she agreed to it. We waited a couple of days when absolutely no one was home except for maybe a couple of other of the attendants' kids for her to do it. She stripped down and walked over to one of the bigger dogs and kneeled down on all fours in front of the dog. The dog started sniffing her backside for a few seconds and she got up and ran. The dog then chased after her and jumped on her back. She didn't fully fall face first as she went down on all four again, hands and knees. The dog then went on to having sex with her. A few weeks later she committed suicide. I don't know if it was because of my idea or if there were any other causes to leading to her suicide. To this day I still think that my juvenile mind could have caused the death of another person. I faked the last 2 years of college education. My parents put so much pressure on me, I couldn't handle it. I was suffering from severe depression and anxiety, so I faked it all. Lied to everyone. Made up fake transcripts. I just got my foot in the door in my desired field thanks to a friend as they hired me as a subordinate. This place only hires college grads but no one double checked my credentials since I was recommended. My hopes is that if I need to find another job I'll have been at this place long enough to get it by experience alone. I work for a very prestigious company. I'm not bad at my job. I'm actually quite good. But my fear is eventually I'll hit a wall and the lie will come to light. No one has known this for the better part of a decade. It's a relief to finally say it out loud. I can't even tell those I love. My silence is my prison. My father never had anything other than boys, and my mother always wanted a girl. Try as they might, they just had tons of boys. When I was 6 they adopted a girl of also 6. Everyone was pleased, and she was quickly included into the family by everyone, and we all took an immediate shine to her, especially me. We started playing doctor at 9. This progressed to fooling around by our early teens, and into actual sex shortly thereafter. We are both over 30 now. We have 6 whenever we see each other. We also like to pretend we are twins when we do have sex. We've both had our shares of girlfriends and boyfriends, but we always kept it up, even while in those relationships. She's actually married now. We still have sex about 2 times a month, more when the family gets together for holidays. I can't even imagine the bricks that would be shat if anyone ever found out. It's been close a few times, especially when we were younger, but nobody's ever caught on. I came very close to committing a school shooting. I was picked on a lot in high school. I think it was because I tried so hard to be cool and everyone saw right through it. There were these 4 cowboy jock types that gave it to me the worst. After being publicly humiliated and beaten in front of a girl I liked as she laughed/cheered, I decided that none of it was worth it anymore. I had no support at home being an only child, and having parents that worked constantly and cutting and burning myself didn't make me feel better anymore. So I got my dad's handgun out of the gun safe. He uses the same combo for everything, the idiot, and brought it to school with me the next day. I can't adequately describe to you guys how ready I was to kill these 4. I had absolutely no fear or doubt in my mind. I wanted nothing more than to show everyone what happens when you push someone over the edge like they did. I had the gun tucked in my waistline. I was wearing this baggy pair of cargo shorts that I wore a couple times a week that day. I remember walking towards the cowboys table, so goddamn ready for it to be over, when the gun fell out of my waistline, down my left short leg, and made the loudest fucking sound as it hit the cafeteria floor. I tried my best to grab the gun real quick, but people saw what it was and screamed, and one of the instructors tackled me to the ground. They eventually concluded that I had brought the gun to school to impress people with badassery and had no intention of using it. I was expelled and sent to live at a youth ranch in Idaho until I was 18. I did have the intention of using it though. I was going to kill all of them. I'm 24 now, and I still think about it all the time. I have not recovered from high school. I'm still terrified of people in general and avoid having relationships because of what I fear I'm capable of. I'm not looking for pity. I know that what I did was wrong. It just feels good to tell the story. Thanks Reddit. Like and subscribe for more Reddit videos.